How's it going? Chris Kiefer, welcome to the YouTube channel. You're looking at a 2023 Yamaha YZ450F. We do these living with articles over on KieferInkTesting.com, but I thought why not grab this bike and give you a little tutorial via video. So you guys that are maybe thinking about buying a Yamaha or currently have a Yamaha, we can go over some notes and some things that I've encountered over 100 hours of my personal bike that I bought last year. So this is a 2023 version. Just clicked over 100 hours on this thing. She's not the most prettiest bike in the shop, but nonetheless, she's effective. So I have a bunch of notes. A lot of these things are floating around my office, and every time I ride, I end up just writing a bunch of stuff down. So why not share that with you right now? So first things first, why is a Yamaha YZ450F so good? Most of you guys ask me, Kiefer, why do you race this bike for the past 3 to 4 years? First things first is the engine is probably the best in class, has the most power. Easiest to ride in third gear out of all the 450s. Best suspension in class, has the most comfort within the suspension. A lot of you guys ask me, do you prefer a 22 or a 23 version? Obviously the Yamaha changed it in 23. I still like a 22 chassis more than this current new chassis that Yamaha is on. And the reason being is the older chassis had more straight line stability, had more comfort. This feels lighter, this 23 feels lighter. Side to side movement is better. If you guys were complaining about old chassis on a Yamaha, now the new chassis corners better and just feels lighter. So that is one of the reasons why I kind of flock to this when I want to go race and do my own personal thing, and when I have personal goals, I kind of flock to the Yamaha. Now, with this new chassis, I will say it's stiffer, it's more rigid, not as much comfort, not as much straight line as a 22, so the other bikes are catching up to it. I wasn't a big fan of other machines last year, so this is what I raced a lot. Now, if you see behind me, you see a lot of Kawasaki's. I've been riding the KTM a lot, and I do like those, and those are kind of bridging the gap for me to try to make a decision on what I'm gonna race at any given time when I choose to race something during the year. So, but nonetheless, this bike is still one of the best 450s you can buy right now. And we'll break off a couple things that you guys can do to your Yamahas at home. So what about suspension? If you guys look at the suspension right here, I've gone with REP, I've gone with Enzo, I've done some stuff with factory connection. So for me, depends on what you get the best deal on, honestly. REP does great work, Enzo does great work, factory connection, those are 3 that I've tried that I really like. But in stock form, it's just very soft. I'm 175 pounds, I need more hold up, and with this chassis, it's a little bit of an edgier slash harsh chassis, so they kind of compensated that with softer suspension. They were trying to mask that feeling from the chassis with softer suspension. It just doesn't work when you guys try to push it and load it. It breaks in, it just gets soft. So you're gonna have to have some sort of heavier valving or maybe heavier springs if you're north of 180 pounds. So that's just something that you're gonna have to do. I do recommend riding your new Yamaha stock, just how it comes, see what you guys feel, and give that feedback to your suspension tuner, whoever it is. If you guys want to know how to relay that information, there's a whole article on my site about how to relay what you feel to your suspension tuner. All of that is over on my site. That way, it's way more seamless for your suspension tuner to give you something that's good in a quicker manner. Don't just judge your suspension tuner off of the first try. Oh, it sucks still, this guy sucks, and just move on to the next company. You got to try to relay enough information to your guys so they can give you the right setup for your Yamaha. So nonetheless, yes, I do have different valving. Right now, we're currently on some Enzo stuff. We're testing some new Enzo specs right now. And most of these suspension tuners send test specs to some of our media outlets, test riders, and that creates a setting for you consumers out there. So that's how that works. Another modification that I do that I think is quite important is I put a twin air power flow kit on here. It just gets a little bit better seal. For me, I don't need the bigger airbox lid. I think it's too loud. It doesn't give you that much horsepower extra, and I don't think I want more horsepower out of this bike. So for me, I just give a twin air power flow to seal better and get less dirt through the intake. A quick update on that. So if you guys are changing out your filters and you're like, oh shit, a dirt speck went down inside my intake, it's really easy to do with this bike. So the easiest way not to get dirt inside your intake is tip your bike over to the side, lean against a stand, and then take off your filter. And what that does, that prevents any dirt from going straight down into your intake and into your engine. So lean it on its side, carefully take your filter off, then that way if anything does fall in, it's just right there at the top and you can grab it really easy. And if you think something fell down there, shop vac, a long snout vacuum, you can suck all that stuff out, really easy to do. A thing that I like to put on here is a different seat. The stock shape of the Yamaha seat is quite narrow right here, which makes it really nice for side-to-side movement. But for me, it actually hurts my ass a lot. So I get monkey butt as much as I ride. It kind of gives me some monkey butt, and my wife's laughing behind the camera here because I complain a lot about it. There is different options you can do. We'll talk about in the modification side of things, but you can go to a flat seat. It's just flatter on top, and that'll give you less monkey butt, and it's just less of a round shape. But you will have a little bit of a wider feel, which can hurt you in corners, but it actually could cause you to grip the bike a little bit more. The Yamaha now is very thin. A lot of you guys were bitching last year or 2 years ago about the 22 being fat. This is one of the narrowest, thinnest 450s there is right now. I get back on a Kawasaki, it feels wide. I get on a KTM, it feels wide. This Yamaha is really narrow. So sometimes it's hard to grip the bike. So going to a flatter seat will help you. Of course, you guys know the stock muffler is pretty good on this bike. If you want to look for a little smoother power, which this bike needs, there's a lot of horsepower within this package right here. So you go to an FMF system, Pro Circuit, Akrapovic. Those are the mufflers that I have experienced and I like the most. They smooth out the power down low. You get less of a jerky feel, and you can run your corners a little bit better without that herky-jerky on-off feeling that the stock muffler can give. So that is an option. If you guys are thinking, hey man, still too much power, which I agree with. When I ride the Yamaha, I probably have the most fun out of all of the 450s, but also this bike gets me the most tired the quickest because it's just fast. So I have to calm this baby down. So how do I do that? Sure, the Yamaha Power Tuner apps, we have maps on my site. That does help. I want to go farther than that. The Yamaha Power Tuner app doesn't give me the parameters as a Vortex does. You guys are sitting there going, that's more money. Yep, it is more money. But if you want a smoother, broader, easier to ride Yamaha, a Vortex ECU mapped in this bike from Chad at XPR, I've worked with him, man, several years on maps to try to smooth this thing out. A lot of the Supercross privateers that are riding Yamahas are on Chad's maps, Vortex, and things that Chad and I have created together. So that also will smooth this bike out and just make it broad, easy to ride, third gear. You can roll your corners. There's just less movement inside the corner, which doesn't upset the chassis, which makes your suspension feel better. So there's a lot of qualities that a Vortex ECU can do to make your Yamaha feel even better. Really quick, Heather can pan down to these pegs. The stock pegs, I slip off the stock pegs a lot. You probably still see mud, my bad, I suck at washing. Wow, there's a lot of dirt in here. Very sharp. These are Raptor open cleat pegs. You can see right here, these are titanium worst connection peg mounts. These come from a 22 where they're -5 back and -5 down. Now with the new 23 cockpit, they're only going to be -2 back and down compared to the 23, 24 stock peg mounts. So it's a little bit down. I don't think you guys are going to notice a big difference. I'm not saying here that you guys need those to open the cockpit, because quite frankly, you probably won't even feel that. But the big thing that I like is just having some sharp teeth, because I simply slip off of the stock pegs. Another thing I wanted to mention, a couple things that are really important with this bike. If you want to get more comfort out of this chassis, very hard to do, I understand that. And I will tell Chris from FCP this to his face. I'm not sold on putting engine mounts on every single motorcycle, but there are some motorcycles that engine mounts work. So these FCP mounts on this chassis, the 2324 chassis, really do help make this chassis more planted. I have a problem with the front end being a little bit light in corners. I feel like I need more tire contact in corners with this chassis. These mounts actually make the bike feel like it's stuck to the ground a little bit more. So that's the feeling I was looking for this chassis. So we kept these on. That is one really important mod to make your Yamaha feel more stable, more planted to the ground, and just have more front tire traction what this bike needs. Every time I get back on a Kawasaki, I notice there's more front tire traction. I put these FCP mounts on and it gets a lot better on this Yamaha. So that is an important mod if you guys are looking to get more just contact feel on your bike. Another thing that I love that I've grown to really like is Doug Dubach put me onto this Brembo system on this Yamaha. So this is an 07 KTM 450 master cylinder, and Heather can walk over here, and this down here is a 07 YZ450 caliper. So we have a KTM YZ combo Brembo system on this thing, and what this does, it gets rid of that really shitty feeling stock Yamaha front brake, on off, spongy. You got to bleed it a lot, and I still don't have enough power. So this gives me a lot of linear power, and it's amazing how much your bike can feel better coming into corners with a good front brake. So I've put these on all my Yamahas the past 2 or 3 years, thanks to Doug Dubach for introducing that to me. And for me, that is a huge key to being comfortable on this motorcycle. Just a couple quick things, we'll move on to things I've experienced. I put Renthal 672 bars on this bike. That's a little bit lower than the stock bend. Also, you can see right here, I use a full waffle Renthal soft grip, but I cut 4 ribs, 4 bars off this just to give me that nice feel for my hand. I'm a size large in glove, and it's just a happy medium between a half waffle soft and then a full waffle soft. It's like an in-between. So if you guys are looking for a little bit bigger of a waffle from a half waffle, get a full waffle, cut 4 bars down, and live your life happy. Quick note about the FCP mounts. So if you guys are looking for torque specs, and I've messed with that a little bit. So on the top mount, which are these, the M8 is 25 foot-pounds and the M10 is 35 foot-pounds. On the front right here, you can go right here. Again, this is a solid mount versus a split mount like the stock. The M8 bolt is 25 foot-pounds and the M10 is a 40 foot-pounds. That is the spec that I like with these mounts. So a good buy. You guys are looking for a little bit more stability. Oh, one thing I didn't mention is inside here, there's a full Hinson clutch kit. I don't have the cover because I wore through it, my boots, so the GYTR cover is on. But the reason why I have a full Hinson setup in here is because the inner hub wears out quite a bit more than other 450s on this YZ450. So the inner hub will get notchy. Hinson system in there just for durability features. That's why I run them. I go through clutches like a son of a bitch, so especially on this bike. So problem areas. I wanted to wrap this up in 10 minutes, but now we're 14 minutes deep in here. So problem areas that you guys might experience with this bike. You guys will be saying, oh, I've heard rods are going out and cranks. So yes, I have had one rod break on my 23 last year. This, not on this bike specifically, but on my test bike. And that was around 38 hours and it broke on the small end. So you guys heard me talk about some bikes, not all. Some Yamaha YZ450s have heat treatment issues with their rod. I've had several Yamahas come in and out of this shop and I've only had one break on me. So at 38 hours, 30 some hours I said, maybe I shouldn't quote myself for 38, but 30-ish upper hours. We did have one go through the cases, and but this bike, I didn't want that problem. So yes, I stuck an aftermarket rod inside of this. There's a lot of good aftermarket rods out there. Chad at XPR did all of my engine work. I did that preventative because I didn't want to have a catastrophic failure, because I rev the crap out of my bike. For you guys watching, weekend warriors, if you guys don't rev your bikes, chances are you won't have a problem, but you can't sit here and quote me on that. So yes, I've had one rod go through the case on my older Yamaha, but what I did with this bike, around 30 hours, and now we're at 100, at 30 hours, I put a rod in here and I haven't touched this bike. So it's been great. 70 hours on this engine, no valve checks, nothing. We've had other problems, but as far as engine, it's been over 70 hours with this new stock top end, aftermarket rod. You can go to Crankworks. There's all different types of aftermarket rods. You guys can hit me up on my email and I can talk to you about that. But just to be transparent, yes, we'd had one failure, but not all Yamahas are created equal. We can talk about problems with the KTM, the Kawasaki. So there are some anomalies out there with Yamahas that, yeah, you might have a rod and you might know someone that had one go through the cases. So there have been some heat treatment problems that we've seen. Yamaha won't say that, but out of 5 bikes that we've had through here that's been over 50 hours, only one have had that problem. So yes, I did put a rod in this just because I rev the crap out of it. I'm on a Vortex and I don't want to go over the bars in the air if a rod breaks going through the cases. So I would, if I was you, I would actually think about putting an aftermarket rod in here if you plan on keeping your bike more than 2 years. So if you guys are riding the crap out of it and you're going to keep this bike for a while, why not invest a little bit of money into your engine for safety reasons, as well as just have a better durable Yamaha. So it's going to cost you a little bit more money, but for me, safety is paramount, and I'm just going to put a rod in there because obviously I'm riding the crap out of these things. So moving on from that, another problem I've had with this bike is water temp sensors. We can point down to this right here. The water temp sensor has gone bad a couple times for whatever reason. What happens is your map kill switch cluster will throw a code, a light, and it'll blink. You can look inside your owner's manual and it'll show that a water temp sensor code is will be blinking, and I've changed mine out twice. I have gone to an XPR water jacket. It's aluminum jacket versus a plastic jacket. Is there a real reason why we do this? No. Obviously, if you want to make it look a little cooler, a little bit more durable, as it's aluminum, it's not plastic. If it does get hot, it's not going to melt down. So you can get one of those. But we just recently went back to the plastic stock piece there just to see if any other issues have arose with the water temp sensor. And we haven't had a problem with the water temp sensor with this or with this lately, but I have had 2 go out in the past 6 months or so for whatever reason. I don't know. I've told Yamaha this, so if you guys are throwing a code, check your water temp sensors. As well, if you guys wash your bikes, you can get water inside of this piece right in there. So when you guys wash your bikes, be careful that you don't get any water right in that kill switch, because what will happen is your bike will cut out, it'll sputter, or it won't start. And that's because there's condensation inside of your map and kill switch, and then your SOL, and you will have to buy a whole new switch, which you can get over at Rocky Mountain. I think I've bought 2 because I have gotten water inside of that thing. So finally, I'm siliconing it. You silicone it, it's a lot better. Another piece that I have gone through quite a bit that is not like a KTM is clutch plates. I go through clutch plates every 8 hours, but I'm a clutch dragger. Again, this bike wheelies a lot coming out of a corner, unlike a KTM where you can accelerate right out of a corner and it sticks, the front end goes down and you can drive through. With the Vortex, this bike doesn't wheelie as much, but nonetheless, I have to fan the clutch a lot to keep the front end down, so therefore I'm burning up clutch plates. So plates do not last on this bike as long as a Kawasaki or a KTM. So I'm going to OEM plates or Hinson clutch plates. And it doesn't matter if you're on a stock basket system or a Hinson basket system. If you are a clutch dragger, you abuse the clutch a little bit, because I like to ride in third gear and I'm slipping that clutch a lot. I burn plates, so that's just one of the things I have to live with when I ride this bike. So I have to switch out plates every 8 hours, which is kind of uncomfortable for me and does get expensive, because you're around $150 for a whole clutch plate kit, which is not friendly. And if you're riding a lot, 8 hours goes by really quick. We talked about the seat shape. Going to aftermarket seat helps. And then for me, basically past the issues with the water temp sensor and just maintenance on the kill switch cluster, and after I put that rod in, this bike has been zero problems for me. I've had no issues. I just ride the crap out of it. My wife behind the camera shaking her head. Yes, she knows how much I ride this thing, but she also knows how much I enjoy riding this bike. It's one of my favorite bikes to ride in 2024. If I do have a goal, if I do want to go try to do my best, this is one of the bikes that I choose to ride, because I feel like I ride this the best. So if you guys are a bigger rider, you like to be lazy, and you want a lot of engine, this is a great bike. Very fun bike to just ride at any condition. Soft dirt, hard pack, a couple mods will make it even better. That's up to you guys if you want to spend the money. Of course, most of this stuff I don't pay for, so of course it's super easy for me to tell you guys to go buy the shit when I don't pay for it. But I did buy my own bike. I did buy my own Vortex ECU for this bike, as well as I've had to pay for my mufflers at times, especially after COVID when parts are hard to get. So I don't mind making this video for you guys right now, because it's something that I experienced and that I liked a lot, so I got for my bike and I paid for with my own money. I got a little bit of a deal, but nonetheless, I did spend my money. So these are the things that I would do if I was you guys out there on a YZ450F. That's about it. If you have any questions, chris@keeferinctesting.com is the place to ask away. Easy on the comment section. It's just a really janky video to give you guys some information, so no hate comms on the comments. And we'll be doing some more of these just talking point videos over on my YouTube channel. And as always, my door is open for you guys. A little bit different than other media outlets out there, because I do my best to answer your guys' questions and give you guys honest feedback, and hopefully spend your money, if you have it, in the right direction. So we'll see you on the next video, and you guys stay safe and enjoy riding.